So this video is going to be about the scales and what I think, and it's just an opinion. So when people comment, it's fun. I get kind of tickled by it in some ways because it's like they always think they need to explain, well, you should just do it this way. The idea is that we all have opinions, and I get it, but just say this is what I like to do, because this is what I like to do personally, versus telling someone like what they should do or shouldn't do. Again, this is just options that you have and how I like to use it. I do want to hear what you like to do, but just want to hear from your sake of why you like something and enjoy it. All right. So here's why I like using different versions, whether it be chromatic or in key. And I think both are valid. Just depends on the person. So I'm going to use C major because it's easier to work with or out the gate, so that I don't have to we don't have to worry about other scales or keys. So we know C major is all the white keys straight across, so you don't have to even guess. All right. When I'm in chromatic mode, I find it much easier to play the solos because I can visualize, here's each one of these are all in scale, the ones that's lit up. These are always going to be C's on different octaves, right? So, and then they run this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 notes in that octave. Most of them are 7. So if I switch over to minor, it's the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's the octave. It's no different. They're all the same. Here's, oops, I didn't mean jet. Here's Dorian. So Dorian has 7, same thing. All right. So that's all you need to know. Then let's go back to major. In chromatic mode, you can play the in-between notes, the ones that are out of scale. You can quickly tell they're out of scale. They're out of the scale because they don't fit the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, right? In the piano. So there you go. And no, I was not singing. But anyway, all right. So when you're in key, now you have 1, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, right? Same thing. But the only thing I'll say about when you're playing them this way is it can be a little confusing on where the chords are. And so you got to look at it as shapes in my mind. That's how I have to look at it, at least. So there's the triangle shape, which is a triad. The first, the third, and the fifth. There's your C major chord. And if you just keep moving up, so imagine here's the notes, right? All the way up. So you literally could move up the scale this way, right? But you can also do other shapes. Now, I can't tell you what every shape is, which leads me to something I would love to see them add, is the ability to have a screen of some sort or some box or something that tells you what chord you're playing. Now, on the desktop, it's easy because there's plugins that show you the exact chord you're playing. But in this, is very much not there. If you're just in the standalone, you got to kind of know. So there's other shapes like, right? There's that one, and then your major triad, and this one. These shapes all represent different things, like a 7th chord, or some of them are 7, some of them are diminished chords, depending on where you're playing. So you got to learn that. And this is something I'm still learning because in all actuality, I know this one is major, or this one is your triad, rather, I should say. Depending on where you are, it can be a minor or a major. So that's a minor. And so if you're in scale, which in this case we are, right? It's going to follow just like if you're on a piano, going up the piano. Back to the start. So there's your chords, right? Notice when you get to this chord, it starts there. So you only need to stay within these shapes. See these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? That's your notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Right? And depending on which note you're hitting in the scale is going to be major or minor. So we know C major, that's out the gate. The next one is D minor. So that's relative to what you're hitting. This is a major. You can listen to it too and tell. Major is bright. Minor is kind of down. Major, bright. Major, minor, major. And that's the octave. So what's the notes? C, E, G, right? C, E, G. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And that's just like on the white keys on the piano within an octave. And then you just memorize it with major, minor. And you know you're hitting each note, right? You remember these notes. This is important. Then jump up here, here, back. Okay? So that's how you play it on the basis of just triads. Now, when you start doing sevenths is where it gets more challenging. But the cool thing is, at least you know the shape. So you can use your melody. So this one's easier for chords, in my opinion. If you really want to get intricate with chords, you can. Now, when you go back to your chromatic mode, this is where you can see and visualize where the notes are. But if I had to play, you got a stretch here that's a little bit more. But what's challenging with this one is not only the stretch, but you have to, sometimes your hands got to be in weird positions to make this work. But when you're just playing scale notes, or if you're just playing leads or melodies, pads or whatever, where you're not trying to play chords, I find this super easy. And whereas this one is just easier for chords because I can see the shapes. Anyway, all right, so that's all I want to show in this video. Keep it simple for you. I know it's a lot to take in if you've never played one, but if you decide to do it, the layout and fourths is like a guitar or a bass if you play that. So that's pretty easy for guitarists and bass. For those that aren't used to that and they're used to seeing a keyboard, it can be a little bit cumbersome at times because you're trying to imagine what do these notes really represent. And because they don't have a little box or something somewhere that lights up what note you're actually playing, that's what to me is making it more challenging. It would be cool if they offered something on screen where you could see at least what note you're playing. And then if you're not playing a note, it would tell you what chord when you play a chord. So like that's C major, but I want to see it on here, something that just pops up with C major, whether I'm in scale mode or not. Could be a little spot on the side that just put it up there. But it may not be any room for that, so I could understand that too. Because if you have this taking up that much space, and then I mean, where in the world you're gonna put it? But I was just thinking, like in the software, if there was a little spot, they could throw it in a corner somewhere. It'd be kind of nice, and it'd just be for visual purposes. It wouldn't be for anything more than that. So anyway, that's it for this video. Hope all is well. See you on the next one.